You just tell me when you're ready. You want to let it go a few seconds?
Yeah. Okay, guys. This is season 2. This is episode 8. The Bronco Alumni Show on the Suds Sports Network. Action.
Okay, welcome to Game 8, Boise State versus San Jose State. It's also the 8th installment of the Bronco Alumni Show. I'm John Hanigan, that's Jason Turner, and today's special guest is Jovan Hutchinson. Welcome to the show, Jovan.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
It's another beautiful day for a game. There's not a cloud in the sky outside, but the game's not being played here, so that has nothing to do with it. I don't know. Anybody check the weather in San Jose?
It's sunny.
It's sunny.
We'll
Okay.
get cold.
Okay.
San Ho.
Yeah, San Jose State. Not a formidable foe, 4-4, but you got to stay ready every week.
Yeah, we found that out. I don't know if anybody was taking BYU lightly, but it looked like we were real flat in the second half. Should we recap?
Yeah, I think we should address that. Like,
Obviously.
first of all, the hopes and dreams of Boise State are not over for the year with one loss.
Yep. There is still an outside chance of them reaching that. I don't know, the playoff. Is that true?
Just the highest non-Power 5 team. I mean, guaranteeing you a New Year's bowl game, Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, it's pretty far fetched, I think, for them to make it now after that loss. But I mean, anything could happen.
Well, Appalachian State lost the other night, so that's one in front of them. So they need some help from Cincinnati and SMU, who, I don't know, there's an intertwined schedule over there.
Yeah, Jovan, did you have any games against BYU?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah,
and, BYU. Just first off, I'll say that is one of the toughest places to play. That environment, the fans, the players, they're angry. They're like some superpowers up there because it's I know
real.
It's real. Played there twice, traveled there, and even when we play them on the blue, it's we know we're in for a dogfight. So. And it's unfortunate we came up with a loss, but I will say that I know Harsin and the rest of the coaching staff, they had them prepared because that is a game that we never take lightly because we know the atmosphere. Sometimes you just it just doesn't come together. But I know we had a lot of opportunities to win.
I think the weather had something to do with it. I mean, it was really wet and cold and damp, but I mean, I remember going down there in '03 and it was a snowstorm right before the game started.
Right.
And I remember Wes Nurse went off that game. Do you remember that?
Gilly went off too.
Oh, Gilly went crazy.
It was
he set a couple records. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to defer with you on that, JT. I know that the weather. I don't think that had anything to do
You
with
don't
it.
think?
You know,
don't think?
and
Okay.
I can't really exactly speak to it because we're not in the locker room. But
Yeah.
again, I'll say I know that we didn't take the game lightly. We were prepared going into it, and I'll just go back into like the '06 season, and I kind of question maybe the lack of senior leadership. Some of those things may factor, and I think we got a lot of young guys that maybe weren't prepared for that atmosphere.
Oh.
And that kind of can ruffle some feathers a little bit. But again, it's hard to say,
Yeah, brand new quarterback. It was his first start, right? In a game time, in
We
a
had a
prime
lot of-
time
A
situation.
growing experience, maybe a
Yeah.
game that'll be looked back upon in a couple of years as
Absolutely. I think it's extremely important to remember that we're Boise State, so everybody's going to give us their best shot.
I know.
We got the target
I
on the back.
appreciate that. I just got to say, man, I wish we weren't a second half team. That
Right.
just gets under my skin, man.
It does.
I
It
can't
does.
stand it.
Well, maybe they can change
I think-
that today, with an easier opponent. Maybe get off to a fast start and
Yeah,
kind of
start
wash away the
fast.
sins from a couple weeks ago.
Start fast, please.
I think the
Broncos.
bye week definitely helped us to kind of hopefully get back to the fundamentals, get back to Bronco football, and just executing, running, pounding the ball, starting with the O-line. You know how that goes, JT.
Oh, man.
O-line sets the tone, and then everything just kind of goes together from there. So
Yeah,
I expect to see Bronco at their finest this week. for
Our
sure.
O-line gets after it in the run game. They can really pin their ears back and go. I'm more worried about them in the pass protection. Seems to be there's always a free runner coming around and taking shots on our guys, and we need to lock that down for sure. That inside run, they got that down. They need to get that pass pro or blitz pickup. That's what it is. That blitz pickup's got to be on point.
So I'll pose this question. You being a former O-lineman, do you feel like I feel like it's a mindset, it's a mentality, and that's what I say. In my eyes, again, I'm just a spectator, being a former player and such, but the lack of senior leadership. Like I know in '06 we didn't allow that, and that was the culture you guys set coming before us, and it was just like if we had a bad practice or a bad week, we were restarting practice. We took ownership in that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's not happening, but I know with a lot of young guys and, some experienced guys filling in and injuries, et cetera, there is a lot that kind of gets lost in the shuffle, if you will. And so I know Hars, had them prepared and such, but we came up short, but I know we'll bounce back big today. That's for sure.
There's a lot of factors. I mean, the offensive line has been plugging holes all year long, like with injuries and guys going down and everybody stepping in. And I think they've done a good job overall, especially in the run game, man. I'd love to see us pound the rock this year. It happens every game, and it gets me fired up.
Right.
But, man, it's a bummer when you see your quarterback taking unnecessary shots late and right before he throws. I mean, that could easily turn into a tip or an interception or a busted arm or a broken finger, and nobody knows. Right?
Or what happens. And again, Buckman, he's tough as nails, but he is human, So
Yes.
hopefully we decide to set the tone and really take that under our belt and go for it.
Yeah, we need to get after it. We need to get after them early, run the rock, set up the play action pass, and throw deep on them. That's the recipe that I remember.
There it is. Get it to the White House. They'll make plays.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we've talked about the present team. Let's dip back into the past a little bit here.
Why not?
With our guest Jovan here, former teammate of Mr. Turner's down there on the end.
Yes.
We'll start with the first question. What brought you here? Tell us a little bit about your high school football experience. What brought you here? Kind of your story of what got you to Boise State.
Oh my goodness, it is. I'll give you the short version.
We got time.
I came here in 2002 and was recruited out of Los Angeles. Went to Fairfax High, and it was funny enough. Boise State was I like to say the biggest choice that I never made, and I say that for one reason because I like many kids from California were recruited by Washington and a lot of other different schools, and I didn't even know where Idaho, Boise State was at. And my sister actually answered the call from Coach Pete, and they ended up being the last team to offer me a scholarship. And fate kind of brought me here, and when I came on the recruit trip with Dryson James, and it was another guy I actually ran track with in the inner city, I fell in love with it and signed on the dotted line right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you did you play high school with Dryson?
No, so he's from Arizona, but I went to we came on a recruit trip here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because at the time I believe he was going to go to U of A or somewhere like that, and I was looking at like Fresno State or somewhere like that, and it was just it was really just fate, man. It was the best decision that I never made.
But you ran track with them at some point with Dryson?
No. I ran track with it was a kid named Dominic. That was three of us. We were all wide receivers,
okay.
and they only had 2 scholarships. And so, anyhow, fast forward ahead, ended up here, and never looked back.
Well, obviously you've stayed, so
Yes.
there must be something you like about the community or
my
like about the
goodness.
town.
Oh my goodness, yes. Just it's crazy, because you get done with football and moving on in life, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I started coaching Optimist football, which led me into my career of becoming a fireman, and so I had the pleasure to service the citizens of Eagle, Idaho, and basically all through the valley. And I raised my family here. I have I'm married with 3 beautiful daughters and such, and just the transition from there, like Boise has just been so welcoming. I mean, I always tell people I came here as an arrogant 18-year-old kid, and I like to think I matured as a man and doing okay for myself. My wife kind of defers. She thinks she's got 4 kids, and I'm the biggest one, which is all right with me.
We've heard that a lot. Is your wife from around here? Or is
Yes,
she from-
yes. She's actually from New Plymouth, the Fruitland area. So she's Idaho roots. Yes,
see.
Deep Idaho roots. A ranch girl.
Like grandfathered. What do they call that?
Oh,
They
yeah.
call it- yes.
Oh yeah.
So especially these times in Boise, it's where you're born here. There's a lot.
Right.
There's a lot of pride in that.
There is. Idaho tough, right?
Your wife, who's a local Idaho product, she also has a local business. Would you like to plug or promote that for a minute?
Absolutely. For all you women and everybody looking for the Christmas season is up, and my wife owns and operates M-Spal down in Southeast Boise. We do everything there from laser hair removal. We have a hairstylist, you name it. Everything there is a one-stop shop. And she's incredible at what she does. She cares truly about her clients. Sometimes I say too much, but maybe not. There's no such thing. But yeah, we're in Southeast Boise, right over there in Bound Crossing.
And the name was M
Spa. Yes.
M Spa.
Yes.
Okay. That's the letter M Spa, everybody.
That is
Do you know of a website or Instagram or Twitter or something like that?
Yeah, so MSpa, a lot of mspa.com is her online, and then I believe it pops up. It links to all three on Instagram and then, Facebook and such. So
sounds good. mspa.com.
Do you want to give a shout out to the Eagle Fire Department? We're giving shout outs.
Always. My brothers in battle, Eagle Local 4553. You know, we love what we do, and a big shout out to riding for the cause and taking care of our citizens and the brotherhood. Absolutely, Eagle Fire has been nothing but good to me.
Is that a lot like a fire department, a lot like a locker room, on the football team there?
Yes, it is, and that's essentially why I decided to jump into that profession. You know, I think every little boy at one point or another wants to be a fireman growing up or a firefighter. And I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity and some people that believed in me. And so jumping into that, like I've been there at Eagle Fire for 12 years, and a part of my thing I was talking to the team about is, you know, having that transition into life beyond football, life beyond the academics and the football thing. And some players struggle with that. I know
absolutely
a lot of my teammates did, and it was just kind of like there was a big urgency and a need to really address that when I came back and talked to the team. So yeah, it is very much the camaraderie, everything from that. It's like just like the football field, man. You sweat, you shed blood together, you work out together, we live together, we argue, we fight together.
Yeah.
But when the bells go off, we're all on one team, one common goal, and there to serve the citizens.
So can you you said that you got into it like through Optimus
Yes.
coaching. Can you kind of give us like how did you actually get into firefighting?
So I'm glad that you asked that. It's very important, and I want to give a big shout out and rest in peace to Jess Hernandez, former Bronco, and he was the Eagle firefighter as well. So I ran into Jess Hernandez at a Boise Burn game way back when, and we connected, and from there he said, man, you had to come out and coach Optimus football. And I had an opportunity to coach with a couple of firefighters, Mike Winkle, Neville Humphreys, and Jamie Vincent. And from there, it turned into an opportunity of becoming an Eagle volunteer. But I really didn't really have a whole lot of direction. I just knew I wanted to coach and give back. And being freshly removed from college football, I was still eager to somehow play or be connected to the sport. And that just led to another opening, and that's how I became a firefighter. Started volunteering. I volunteered for a year and a half, took a test, was fortunate enough to pass, and got offered a position and never looked back.
Jovan, you mentioned a little bit earlier about the fact that you spoke with the team. It was during fall camp, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, actually,
Yeah.
no. It was. Yeah, you're right. Excuse me. It was in the summer. I said fall. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was the fall camp. Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
So how what happened to like trigger that, or what led up to that talk? Because it was you and Dreisen that addressed the team
Yes.
back to back, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So could you just talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So they do a deal called Real Life Wednesdays, and this is, thinking about it. I have actually they started it, I feel like, a few years back, and I really started hearing about the program through Taylor Tharp, Flicks, and then BMAC. Yeah, Brian, he was telling me a little about they were getting ready to get this off the ground, and what it was they wanted former players that were in the community doing successful things and being positive. They wanted us to come back and just basically share our experience, what it means to be a Bronco and such. So leading up to that, I thought it was kind of ironic that Dreisen and I got scheduled together, which was perfect. I couldn't have dreamt it a better way. But to be in full transparency, it was two opposite sides of the spectrum as far as our experiences at Boise State, and that's what I really wanted to capture. Dreisen James, obviously, scored a lot of touchdowns, was a starter. I mean, immaculate on the field and doing all these things of having the success and reaping the rewards of being able to, score touchdowns and contribute on the field.
And be involved in like one of the most famous football plays of all time.
Ever.
Number
Ever.
one on
Yeah.
ESPN.
Ever.
We watch it all the time.
Ever, yeah. And a good dear friend of mine. But my experience my road was very different. Freshman year, came in really hot. Gosh, man, I mean, I think my mom still has the article voted freshman breakout player of the year, and from all the seniors would vote on who you think is going to be up next and who's going to contribute. And so I worked my tail off, and that next spring actually ended up getting hurt. And from there, mentally lost a lot of confidence and never really was able to pick it back up and jumped into a backup role. And so that was humbling. It was hard. It was I became a better teammate than I could have ever imagined, and that was what I was sharing with the players, the former players, or excuse me, the existing players. How that experience really shaped my life. Things that I identified and considered myself being a failure because I wasn't contributing on the field the way that I had imagined. I really struggled, but somehow I was able to still find joy in my teammates' success, and that was really talking about being a part of something bigger than yourself, and that was the heart and the soul of my talk with the team. And it's ironic that I serve the community of Boise through firefighting, because there is no greater calling to me than the service of others. And so I just really wanted guys that maybe were on the fence, weren't getting the playing time that they felt they deserved, and all these things. And it's important to me to stress that you have to do your job. You still got to buy into the program. It takes everybody, not just the guys contributing on the field. It's the way we practice, the way we show up, holding each other accountable, et cetera. And I really wanted them to know that don't lose faith in the process. Sometimes there's a reason and there's a goal bigger beyond that you can ever understand. Obviously, God has a different plan for all of us. So,
Is that your passion for service? Is that something you knew about yourself early on, or is that something that you had to go through that to find out about yourself?
That's interesting, JT. I look at it as I really knew that I love people and I love inspiring people, and I couldn't tell you, I would have thought that I wasn't going to be able to play and contribute on the field the way I thought and imagined, but I was able to find the positive and the opportunity to grow much more. I can see that now as an adult and where my life is and how it's shaped and how all the positivity and opportunities come from that. But it was hard. I had good people in my corner. I had a lot of good mentors from teammates to, my barber and my mom was my biggest advocate. She was just like, just keep being a good teammate. You're doing great. And just really motivating and positive in a really hard time in my life. And who knew that the ways that I identified myself as being a failure would be my greatest strength and actually my greatest accomplishments and achievements.
Yeah, I mean, all the success that carried over from before I got to Boise State, and then that really picked up by the time Jovan showed up, and then maybe it plateaued a little bit after the Kellen Moore,
I think,
or that third Fiesta Bowl, you know?
Right.
But I mean, it's never dipped. You know
No.
what I'm saying? It hasn't dipped, is what I'm saying, and like, that's just amazing to be a part of that, and
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That Fiesta
you
Bowl,
were a
man.
part of the Fiesta Bowl team.
Yeah.
is that
Amazing.
The first Fiesta Bowl.
The first Fiesta Bowl team, and most people, when they begin to talk about that season or that game, it was back into what I was saying as far as the leadership. As seniors, we knew we were special. We knew we had it that year. We all decided to stay that summer. We have the opportunity to go home, but we worked out. We lived here. We went out together. We took care of each other, but we demanded excellence from the senior group, and it trickled down, and that's the leadership that we had. We really owned it, and we, like, everybody in that locker room knew we were going to go undefeated. I bullshit you not. Like, it was, we knew because we put in the work, and we just weren't going to accept anything but.
Well, I have a question bringing it back to this week's game. I was looking at the schedule that year, and you guys went down to San Jose State that year.
Yes.
And I noticed the score was a lot closer than most of the other scores that year, and most scores against San Jose State.
Yes.
So can you talk about your experience in that game and a little bit about perseverance and kind of what we've been going through?
Yes, I do remember that game. I have a lot of family in the Bay Area. My aunt and my mom actually were at that game. But, yes, that was again, when you're the best, especially in your conference and you're used to success, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And that was the pivotal moment because everybody was circling us, trying to knock us off the map. Much like BYU did, they circled Boise State last week, and unfortunately we come up short. But as far as that game, I knew we were in a dogfight. I remember Ian Johnson actually, he had a collapsed lung. That's how it would like.
I remember that.
Yes, I do remember that too.
Yeah,
What did he take a shot?
He took I think a rib shot. It was like some sort of sweep or whatnot. But I remember him he had a collapsed lung. We were in a dogfight, and they had some really good wide receivers. I think I forget their name. I don't know if it was Flowers or on San Jose State, but a couple of guys that went league that year. And it was cold, but it went 4 quarters. So that's why, just know every week is going to be a dogfight. Every week, man. But it was intense.
But yeah, it's gonna be rough in the first half. I remember, but man, we used to pour it on them, and then everyone would just break, and then it'd be like third quarter, fourth quarter.
Right.
Everybody get in, and everybody would earn that. Everyone get that. They'd eat. I believe they call it eating these days.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They get some
Oh,
eats
yeah.
out there because we'd get everybody in the game.
No, it's fun, man. But yeah, that San Jose was definitely a dogfight.
Every now and then.
Yeah, that game could have been the difference of, everything that followed it.
Yes.
That one little
Hiccup.
that's like the dip in the
Yes.
season. So
and that's the big thing that even being removed from the immediate field in the locker room, I too, and a lot of fans, I don't like when they start talking like, oh, Boise State, we ruined it, we blew it, and they start looking over the fence. But I almost fell victim to that too, because I got a little antsy and thinking like, oh wow, we're gonna run the table, we're gonna go to a big bowl, and so I do understand having those those aspirations, if you will, and having that optimism. But I will say, think about how hard it is to be consistent day in and day out, even your own lives, and let alone win every football game, week after week, with injuries, fatigue, et cetera, you name it. So
yeah, when you don't have your best,
exactly.
Even in life, like you said,
in life, it's hard to be consistent, to show up every day when you're not feeling it. And those are what Hawk used to preach about, Harsin, Pete, like the little things. Leave no stone unturned. It's the little details, all the details, the splits, everything is what contributes to the big plays. And a lot of people forget that.
Well, yeah, when we were in the locker room earlier this year, I have a picture of the sign. It says, do something today better than you did yesterday.
Absolutely.
And that goes on from kindergarten to
right
till the end.
Yes, and that's what I was, again, just mimicking my experience, or explaining it to these guys, the current team, of like, what you don't realize is how you show up in practice. How you show up in practice today is how you will show up in your life. You want to cut practice, you not want to go 100%, you want to, you don't want to give it your all. I promise you, those same habits will come back, and they'll echo into your life. And that's been one of the hardest and humbling experiences, because I can see in my part in my life the areas where I need improvement. It's like watching film, man. Film does not lie. And that's what I try to tell these guys, like, it carries over beyond football. It's a way of life. Being a Bronco is a way of life.
We're almost getting to the point when you're going to have game film on your whole life.
Oh,
you can watch
yes.
pretty much your whole day
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
So look at that. You could have hustled to the bank a little quicker. You would have been earlier to the birthday party.
There
see?
you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Don't cut corners, man. Yeah, there's no substitute for hard work, that's for sure, and faith.
I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg knows where you're at right now. He could tell you where you were last week
Yeah.
at this time, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No. He was in Congress telling them no. That's
Right.
I believe.
Yeah, I believe him.
Yeah, I do too.
That's
He's
all
got
the-
other people.
Shout out to Mr. Zuckerberg.
There it is.
Yeah.
Come on the show sometime.
You're welcome here anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
It's true. He's not an alumni, but it's okay.
We'll fudge it.
He's not an alumni of anywhere. See, kids? So let's get back to our special guest here.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you the best part about being a fireman, but we've already hit that. But that is like the little kid's dream. I guess my question is it fun? My kid has done this. When you go out, you're in the truck, you're grocery shopping. I know you guys kind of live, breathe, eat together.
Right.
But, you see a couple kids in the grocery store. Is that, to me, that's got to be surreal.
It is. It is surreal to see. And it's amazing just to see these kids. We just got done with October, which is a fire prevention month. We go and talk to the kids at the school. We have lunch with them and do a lot of tours and such. But to take that kid and just really like have a chance to connect, to build those relationships, that's really why we do it. And I will say, like, you don't have to be a fireman to cultivate relationships. You can do that on your own, but it is really cool to be able to hop off the truck. I'm a driver, and so I get to speed around town driving the fire truck, and that's a dream in
to
itself.
run the siren too?
Oh man, yeah, when my captain lets me, but I get a hold of that thing, and everybody knows I got a lead foot too. So
The horn?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it is truly a blessing. But it's hard because it's a give and take. There are those aspects of it that are really hard because we meet people on their worst day of their lives in their most vulnerable states, and that can wear on you. That can wear on you, and it's hard to shut that off, the knowing that you can't produce a positive outcome in every situation. And especially with kids, those are the hardest calls. And we've had our fair share of calls. And then there's the other side. Being a fireman is all, it's fun and all that, but you're gone for your family a third of your life, out of a week. We work 2 days on and 4 days off. And those 2 days, you got to have a really supporting spouse. And my wife is amazing with that. She takes care of all of our kids and keeps the ship going. And so there's that other side of the coin to being a fireman as well, or firefighter, excuse me.
Thank you for highlighting that, Jovan. We would like to currently give a shout out to all of our public safety,
first responders, nurses,
police officers,
everybody.
nurses, firefighters,
absolutely,
Coast Guard,
and their spouses, because
spouses.
They're better halves. They're the real heroes, honestly, because we get paid to have fun, and despite what people think, it's not all just playing cards and hanging out waiting on the call. There's we go to school, we educate ourselves. I'm currently in an officer development program right now. That is on my off days, and so there's a huge commitment. It's just like anything else. So, but definitely fortunate to be able to affect change and affect people's lives in a positive manner.
I'm really glad you brought up Jess Hernandez, one of my fellow offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Rest in peace, brother.
Rest in peace,
Absolutely.
Jess. If you don't mind, I didn't prep you with this question, but would you? What's your best Jess Hernandez memory, man?
Oh my goodness, there's so many, and they're all vulgar, they're all full of profanity, and they're just
a PG. Well, then we can narrow it down by saying a PG one, if there are any.
I don't think there's many, but I have to. What an incredible human being, and just a heart of gold, man. He definitely was a big brother to a lot of people, and he just really cared. And it's not, unfortunately, it's not too often that you come across somebody that just genuinely cares and wants to listen and wants to help. I had surgery right when I got hired at the fire department. I got hurt with a crazy story. I actually ended up cutting off a large portion of my thumb and had to go have surgery. And Jess Hernandez was the one who took me to the hospital, picked me up. He was just a really selfless, class act person, man. So I'll be forever grateful and in debt to Jess Hernandez introducing me to Eagle Fire and far beyond.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jovan, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that guy was one of a kind.
Biggest Spanish dude I'd ever met in my life, and freaky strong.
Yeah. Man. That guy could drink a Mad Dog faster than any human on earth.
Oh, my goodness.
MD 2020, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir, Mad
I remember
Dog.
him and Brad Chase used to race on a regular basis, and Brad could never beat him. He would try so hard. Brad Chase,
right?
Where are you? I know you. You're out there listening.
Call in, brother.
If you are listening, give me a call, man, because we'll have to arrange that next time for Brad to call in and give us a Jess Hernandez story. That'd be a bit on the show, like.
That could be its own segment.
Yeah, like everybody who knew Jess that comes on the show, we ask them, hey, we got to ask you, like, what's your favorite Jess memory?
Goodness.
Everybody knows, yeah.
And everybody has a different one. That's how.
I remember he was my roommate. I don't know if you remember.
I don't, but I didn't know that.
He used to be my roommate when I lived over, like, right on campus.
Okay.
Over by the math building. And, man, that guy was one of a kind, as I said earlier.
Oh, my God. That's, again, politely stated, one of a kind. But, just a genuine human being, larger-than-life human being.
He cared about everybody. It was like, Yeah, hey, I'm Jess. We're on the same football team now.
Yes.
Who do you want me to punch in the face, or
Right.
or who needs to get thrown out of this party,
Oh
or
my goodness.
or what?
He lived for those moments.
Yes.
Coaching optimist football. So I coached with Jess. That's how I got started with Eagle Fire. And it was the craziest thing to see these little suburban white kids that that weren't really tough, that had a lot of pampering throughout their lives, and see them transform to become these little athletes and these little minions of Jess, from cursing to like chop block. I mean, all these things. It was just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, Jess, you can't teach him that. And his bullshit. This is football. And it was just like, they were just little, and they loved them. And then nobody loved Jess more than kids.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He was infectious.
I'm sure there was several times he was out there wrestling all of them simultaneously.
He loved it. He loved it. And every other word was an F-bomb, and everybody erupted when Jess cussed.
God bless him. Again, rest in peace. Can't say it enough.
Rest easy.
Love
brother.
you, Jess.
Always.
Jovan, you mentioned an injury before the fire department, but your injury, I want to go back to your injury at Boise State.
Yes.
We had Chuck Hayes on, kind of describe a little bit about what you kind of go through with an injury where I don't know what your particular injury was, but if you could explain that, and were you separated from the team? What was that like?
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Going back, I was in the weight room, and again, being a freshman going into that spring season, just coming off redshirt year, and really feeling really accomplished and just confident of where I was going to contribute on the team. We were in the weight room, and I was front squatting, and I was with, what's Brad? Little Brad.
Brad Allen.
Brad Allen, BA, yeah, BA. I was front squat with BA, and there was somebody else, and I was definitely not developed, and probably shouldn't have had all that weight on there. And I know my form was terrible. It had nothing to do with the coaching or pit or anything like that. And I went down for a front squat, blew my knee, and it actually dislocated. And
Oh, jeez.
yeah, and it ballooned up right away. And I just kind of thought like, oh, it'll kind of go back in place. Went in, saw the doc, and they were like, yeah, we got you scheduled for surgery next week. And I was just in tears, in complete shock. I'd never torn anything, never broke a bone, barely even sprained an ankle. And I remember my brother at the time, my brother Adam was here. He was my roommate, and we were just bawling. I thought my life was over. And fast forward ahead, I got injured, and what I will say is I wish if I could do it over, that I would have rehabbed and really took that to the next level, because that was my key to getting back conditioned and ready. But nobody could prepare. I'd never been injured this way. Nobody could prepare me for that. And I really felt alone, to be quite honest. And because that's the business of college football, that is that side. Like, it's like if you're not contributing on the field, you can't practice, then that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that. And so it was just, there was a lot of isolation. I would rehab, and I even heard a coach or somebody make a comment like, oh, he's walking around like he got shot. And I'm like, dude, I just blew my knee. And I just got pushed to the back of the bus, and something happened mentally where I wasn't able to recover. And I thank God that I didn't go down a dark hole, and I still had supportive people around me and good influences, because I was very vulnerable. And again, I know we're Boise State football players, but we are still human beings, and we're
Also
young
a kid.
kids.
I mean, 18, 19.
18, 19 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to figure out college at that point. Yeah.
Figure out college life, everything. And all that's consistent is the reason why you're here is because of your talent. And when you're not able to produce, I was in fear of losing my scholarship. I mean, all these things were going through my head, and I just couldn't. It was hard. It was detrimental, and I finally was able to come back to some sort of a backup role, and football became fun when I just started enjoying my teammates. But that wasn't until like junior year, So there was a big gap there where I was just removed and isolated. So it's hard mentally, especially.
Yeah, I had some. I never had any physical injuries, but I had I guess you could call them like reputation injuries, or self-imposed adversity and stuff like that. So
certainly.
So I know what it's like to feel isolated, but I gotta say, never once did it cross my mind to quit just because things weren't going the way that I wanted them to, and because I didn't feel like I wasn't getting treated right or anything like that, or any differences I had with coaching or anybody like that. Like I never once, because I felt so like the bond that we had as teammates was so strong, and thank goodness I kept at it, because sometimes someone goes down and then like I was in a backup role, and then someone goes down and then you get your number called and then you get a go chance to do your thing.
Absolutely.
And so we never wanted to see anybody injured, but that worked out in my favor.
Yeah.
And shout out to Rusty Colburn, man. You got to holler at me because we need to get you on the show.
Oh yeah,
I know
Big Rust.
You know how it is, man. When you're competing for the same position, it's hard to be best friends. And sometimes you gotta. When you're ultimately you're trying to get on that field.
Absolutely.
Man. So
Absolutely.
there's adversity, that animosity there that develops,
But through those moments, and I come to realize that more as an adult and being removed from the program, is those are the greatest. If you can hang in there, if you can fight the ego, fight these negative, that mindset, you will actually grow so much and be better for it. And that's what I was telling the guys, the current team, is like, get to know yourself. That is the greatest gift you can give yourself, is really get to know yourself, because life will knock you down. You're going to go, and that's what I was telling me. I said, you think that going to practice and not playing or whatever and doing 2 days is hard? Oh my goodness, man, to do that all over again, life, being a father, being a husband,
where does your
more.
knee surgery rank on that list of life events?
Oh,
difficulties in life.
Not even. It's not ranked.
It's not, right?
It's not.
And at the time, it was like number one.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I was just. It's crazy, man. Just thinking about everything. I really feel like everything that I went through at Boise State, good, bad, diversity, whatever, or all these things really helped set me up for the success, the opportunity to be successful. Because again, I want to make sure people know that it's a choice. You have to make that choice, and once you do, you go full-fledged. And that's why I love what I do today. Is just trying to meet people, inspire people in any phase of your life. You don't have to be a fireman. You don't have to be a Boise State football player. I sell real estate as well. Anytime you can impact somebody and leave a positive effect, I think that alone right there is just amazing.
Well, Jovan, you talked about a gap when you were injured.
Mm-hmm.
There's another gap you had at Boise State, maybe a 12-year gap. I don't know what the exact number was. I've read a story about it,
Yes.
but we talked about it before the show a little. Would you like to elaborate?
Absolutely. If you haven't heard it, Jovan Hutchinson is a college graduate as of this past summer.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
So cheers to that. And I had one class hanging in the rafters. It was a math class, and I really don't have an excuse why it took me 12 years. My mom was on me every year, every day about it. And, life, I got hired with the fire department, kids and all that, and I didn't prioritize it. But the point being is that it's not where you start. It's always how you finish. That was something we lived, we breathed at Boise State. You got to finish. Whatever it is, it does not matter. Finish it. You owe it to yourself, reward yourself. And, it was huge for me. One of my things that I was talking to the guys and the team about was, that was something that I was very ashamed about. It was not being a college graduate. People would I didn't lie, but I would often just be like, oh, yeah, I went to Boise State. I wouldn't say graduate, but I would allude to it, and it would always kind of give me that nasty feeling like I wasn't being truthful about it. And when I was able to walk across that stage and get it done, it really made me feel like, yes, accomplished. I know my mom was happy, because it's life. Life is going to have a lot of those failure moments, but that was such a driving force of everything that I wanted to do, was get that college degree for my mama, for myself. And again, one class short. Why wouldn't you?
I don't know if you knew this about me, but I took time off before I went back to finish school as well.
I did not.
So yeah, I didn't go to school between 2003, and then started to go back a couple times, but didn't ever commit to it. And then finally in 2008, I had lived enough life, and I realized, man, I want to be I want to get ahead. So I went back and got my mechanical engineering degree. It took me 3 years to go back and get it, man.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
congrats. I did
Yeah.
not know. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, so it took me, so I started in 99 and I finished in 11. So when did you start and when did you finish?
So 02 was ideally going to be done in 06, and I got done, we were still 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
So you got it stretched out longer than I did.
I got it stretched out. But, with that, now just cued me in. Big shout out and love and respect to Gabe Rosenbaum, because every year he would shoot me a message. I'd see him at the football games, or he'd shoot me an email, and he is the workhorse and so much more for Boise State athletics, because he is the person that really made it happen for me by consistently texting me, hey man, they got a new program out there that will really help you finish this degree, and he hooked me up with the right people, and it's just been amazing to have such an advocate and a support group like Gabe. Also my tutor, Jane, she got me through that math class with an A, so big shout out to those people. Yes,
Nice.
And I had
Bumped the GPA up.
Oh, bro, and I had a math phobia too, so it was just, there was so much growth that happened from that.
I got to give a shout out to Gabe too, who was really helpful in me getting my last year of college paid for.
Yes.
I had gone 2 years previous to that, paying for it by myself, and had a really decent GPA in those years.
Right.
Like my total overall was not that great, but I had a good GPA for those 2 years.
Doctors thought when you meet a doctor, you don't ask him his GPA.
No. But you want to know.
I mean, you kind of. But I mean, hey, man.
Sealed records.
Not everybody can take tests.
Anyways,
Go for it.
I went 1 year, and then I asked Coach Pete, and he said, man, JT, I really want to help you, but I got to see another year out of you.
Yes.
We'll see how you do it. And
Yes.
so I buckled down and got with it, and then he helped me out my last year. Shout out Coach Chris Peterson for helping me get my degree in something that I wanted, which I always wanted to get an engineering degree, and I got it. So
Yes. I
So,
love
yeah,
it.
man.
Cheers to that.
Yeah,
Cheers
sure.
to that.
Well, that kind of brings us to a new topic in college football. I'm sure you guys have heard. Now they're going to actually pay players.
Yes.
They don't. There's very loose details here. They've just approved to pay.
for their likeness and their name and their image, or wait, it's likeness, name, and number, or there's 3 things that I
Something.
saw.
What does that look like?
criteria.
I mean, what does that look like? I mean, if I'm
Well,
the
Ian
last
Johnson,
guy on the roster,
Ian Johnson,
I'm the first.
shout out to Ian Johnson.
Come on
he
the
would've-
show.
He would have been able to sell beanies on the side,
Oh yeah.
which
Right.
is something that he got shut down for, because he used to make them for people, and then
Right.
they had to shut him down because he was making all that bank, all that sweet crocheted beanie money.
Crochet master.
Yeah, I don't know what this is going to look like, though. I mean, is it going to be evenly spread, or is it going to be a free Wild West, or?
It sounded like. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, JT.
It sounded like they were going to make it on an individual basis. Like you could brand yourself as any way you wanted in association with being an athlete, I think. So it could be cooking shows or whatever you want to do. I mean,
Right.
YouTube channels. You
Podcasts?
can monetize it.
Oh no, they're going to be down here.
I
Oh,
know.
no.
Huh? Damn, they're going to take our market over.
I think just it's hard, I feel like it's something that's definitely long overdue. We're talking about the business and the business of college sports, and how much, because that's what it is. It's revenue. It's all these things. They make all this money on the merchandise. The university's making money, and again, the coaches. I mean, that's the side of it. That's the cutthroat part of it. Is that's what it is. And so the players should benefit from it. And I don't know what that looks like, and I'm not sure about an individual basis. I think that's kind of a shady criteria. If you ask me, I feel like that
Leaves a lot open.
it does to poke holes in it. And so I'm not sure, but I do like that the conversation and things it's being brought up, because people think like, oh man, it's easy, you're an athlete. It's not easy. And yes, you know what you sign up for, but it's brutal. It's brutal. There's a whole nother side of it, and thank goodness that, like, for the most part, like, Boise State, really does care about their players, and all athletes, but it's there is a realness to it.
Think about it. I think the main argument or gripe that people have with it would be like those experiences that you had as a football player in college. It's a very sought after position or occupation or just something to do in college, whatever you call it. Everybody wants to do
Less
it.
than 1% of high school
So
players.
what would you trade that for? You know what I'm saying? That you can't put a dollar amount on that.
Can't.
And that's a special thing that very few, and compared to how many people are aiming or trying to get to actually do. So,
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, is that cheapen? Does that put a dollar value on the experience? And I mean, does it cheapen it? Or
Well, there is a dollar value. I mean, the other students pay a tuition. There's an actual
Right.
dollar value
Right.
for it.
yeah,
Right.
and then put them in plastic pads and have them get hit with baseball bats every day and see
Right.
if they can
All right,
handle it.
no, I get there's a few more hours of classes or
Certainly.
mandatory classes
Well,
you guys
But
have.
also the from the revenue side of things, like how you walk around campus now, and as I lick the mic, there's there's
We're
from
gonna
our-
mark that
from-
one as the guest mic. Don't worry.
Right. From the winnings and the money that Boise State football has brought to the university.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's all these other buildings
Buildings.
because of it, and
Yes.
so that represents all the non-athletes as well. So it's not just we have to bridge the gap. It's not a you versus me thing. Student athletes versus versus just students. Like we're one family, And yeah, I don't know. It's much like what's going on in the world today. You know, we gotta bridge these gaps. We really do, because that's all we got. There's plenty for everybody.
You get one shot.
There is.
and
There
there's
is.
really no point in
I
trying to go around pissing everybody off.
Exactly. I got a quick question. My wife texted me. How does everybody tune in to watch the show live? Is that
That's all through YouTube.
All through
There's
YouTube.
a YouTube link.
And we
okay.
leave it there, too.
okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it'll be
Cool,
out
cool.
there. It's
All
on
right.
the channel is called the Bronco Alumni Show.
On YouTube. All right.
And
Everybody listening.
I'm sorry. The channel is the Suds Sports Network.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the
Our show
is
Yeah.
the Bronco Alumni Show. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
correct.
And that's the link. All right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make sure she's
there's a
tapped in
there's a
on that.
link to the YouTube page on our Facebook page.
on the Facebook.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Look at you.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, JT.
In the
on there.
about info. No one ever looks at it though. You guys need to figure out how to use Facebook.
Well, it's also a good time if you're listening and you own a business and you'd like to sponsor
Absolutely.
our podcast.
Yeah.
We would love to talk to you. Come on down. Buy Turner a new mic.
Yeah.
A new mic. I do need a new mic
Yeah, you do.
stand. It's kind of broken
Man,
here.
it's kind of falling apart there.
Yeah, it's a little roughed up.
You've been using it lately.
We need
Good job.
another gear bag or a protective case for my mic
all
stand. I
all
think.
right. This is
It's pretty
We'll have
special.
the meeting afterwards. Sounds great.
Yeah, but hey, check it out. If you were a sponsor of this show, now would be the time when I said, come on down to your spot, wherever your location is. Here's your website at Made Up Business.
Yeah.
And
Hutchinson
I'd be
Homes Real
Hutchinson
Estate.
Homes Real Estate, M Spa.
M-Spa.
This episode's brought to you by M Spa. Come on down for all your estheticianist needs.
All that.
We got hairstyling. We got electrolysis. That's laser
All of
hair
it.
removal.
All of
of your procedures you need
Have
done.
you been down there?
I have
Oh
not.
yeah. You look at them Botox.
I do not. No, this is all natural.
Yeah.
Me, all natural. I could use some hair plugs though. Do you guys do hair plugs?
You know,
Mark,
I'm sure it's not impossible.
No,
My wife is.
we
awesome
were
at that.
we were trying to get LeBron's hair plug
Oh,
doctor
okay,
to
okay.
advertise, but then I saw his wig fall off
Ooh.
in the middle of a game.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have to revoke that
Yeah.
offer for airtime too.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking for a rug doctor. I'm
Oh,
looking
no.
for
Oh
looking for a
no.
plug doctor.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All
I
right.
love it. I love
Thanks.
it.
That was our NBA report.
Okay. Real quick.
LeBron's hairline
Yeah.
this week, and LeBron.
I love it. I love it.
Oh man.
Well, I
we
know.
really went off the
Back to
rails.
our serious conversation about getting paid for college sports. I know, Mr. Turner down there on the end, your stance is that there should be, for anybody, a support system, and I think you guys kind of talked about it.
Yes.
Boise State seems
Yes.
like has a support system that makes sure you graduate, no
Right.
matter
Yeah.
how long it takes. Like
Yes.
we'll get you to the real world, then you do the work.
Because there are things that, I mean, it's not like it's not. I'm not asking for a full scholarship, but maybe.
Right.
If it goes into a fund that could support people while they're going to school,
Right.
or more importantly, find them jobs maybe
Yes.
between.
Yes.
Because look, think about this. This is the ideal situation if you ask me. You are going to school and playing football.
Mm-hmm.
You have your career path, who you've talked with a support staff, on what you want to do in your life. They hook you up with a paid internship. I don't know, hopefully.
Right. Or just an internship.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
just an internship.
Yeah.
But take care of you at
In
the
the
same
off
time.
season,
So
or
that way,
maybe the year after.
because
Yeah.
you got to live, you got to eat, man.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so they help you out with that, and then maybe after you've done an internship, a semester, you come back straight into school,
Right.
knowing what you know,
Right.
and you finish out, and you have an idea of what it's going to be like when you get out. And,
Absolutely.
And maybe when that happens, you might want to change your major,
Yeah.
but have at least a path for that where you
Right.
can maybe pay for half of it, or whatever you got to do to make sure these kids who sacrifice life and limb for your entertainment,
Right.
afford them a shot to transition into the world afterwards, because it's a lot different. Believe me, on the offensive line, when you get angry sometimes, like you have to get angry to make sure you do what you got to do.
Right.
When you're out there in the real world and you get angry and you start throwing your weight around, they arrest you.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
People say that there's a lot of lessons to be learned in life from football.
Right.
I can't. When I try to use what I learned in life or in football in life afterwards, it got me in a lot of trouble. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I mean, there has to be
Got to be able to teach
take
you how
care
to
of
turn
them.
it off. pretty
Take
much,
care
yeah.
of them.
And then, so I think what we're talking about what we essentially that transition into the real world. And I think, well, I'll say they're doing a better job. Boise State itself and Boise State football is now doing a better job of paying attention to those things, because that was something while I played, I was fortunate to see the writing on the wall while I was still a current player, to know what I wanted to do, to become a fireman and such. But that's not the case for a lot of the athletes. And like I talked about, to the team, like that's lacking. It's huge.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Cool. No, but and this is, and I think this is extremely important that this gets brought up. And I challenged Coach Harsin. I love that they have Real Life Wednesdays and people that are in the community doing successful things, because we are out here, the Bronco. As far as resources and a person that's been in your shoes that you can reach out to and help you get you on that career path. Can't do it for you, but college athletes,
Maybe
that
show you
transition-
the path, give you a
Absolutely,
map. Yeah.
Absolutely, but that was neglected. It was not a thing. It was like, what can you do for me? When you're done 4 years, you're on your own, and that was
Good luck.
That was good luck. That's what college football was, and so I'm glad to see that.
Well, and it also benefits the team in the future. I mean, if you
Yes.
didn't make it and you're successful in the community and you do other things, you come back, you share your experiences. I mean, it just pays it forward generation to generation.
Absolutely. So that is turning. That's why we have Real Life Wednesdays. That's why we have even this show as a platform. I mean,
Yes.
and it's huge, because we need to have that support. Those players need that support, and because you look at the numbers, not everybody's going to league, man. and like I said, I never started at Boise State, but I start in life every day, in my household, at the fire department, et cetera, et cetera. You finish the narrative, and that what is that going to look like for you when you're done with football and sports?
Yeah, football ain't forever.
It's not.
Jovan, this conversation has been so much fun, man, and
been
unfortunately we have to kind of wrap it up, because there's a couple more questions we need to squeeze in before
Yes.
we shut it down.
Let's do it.
Let's see, Boise, the Broncos are favored by 11, it looks like, with the over-under at 59.5.
Okay.
What do you, sir, predict that the score or final score is going to be?
So, final score, I'm going Broncos 45. No point intended. That was my number. And San Jose 14.
Okay. 45-14. Oh, shoot. That's not supposed to happen.
Oh,
Sorry about that, you guys.
All is
all right.
well.
Unexpected.
All is well.
yeah.
Little advertisement on the
like
on the
it.
old point spread
I
finder.
like it. I like it.
Okay. So was that 59.5? Was it? I don't remember.
What's the over? What did you say it was?
59.
I think it's 59 and a half.
All right.
Something close to that.
Yeah, something around
I don't even
there.
think you need
And it
to
was
predict
17.
a score this week. It's just
No.
Boise State should come out and do what they're
Right.
And they're
supposed
going
to
to
do
cover,
this week.
right?
Yeah.
They're going to cover.
Big time.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah, let's just put it
I
that
mean,
way.
that
Okay,
would
I'm
be a
going to
good
throw this
sign.
out there. I'm going to go big. I'm going to go. I remember one year, I think we put up like 77 on them or something like that. I'm going to say 77 to 24.
We did that here because that was during pregame. We did it was a punt, and they rallied around our Bronco and pushed Coach Prince out the way and all
Yeah.
that. So after that, Coach Pete came in and said, "We're going to put
Shot
fucking
the lights
we're going
out.
to put 100 on these fools," and we damn near did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, John, what about you? What's your final score? Come on, let's hear it.
59. Let's divide that. Hold on. 35. I just think they should be angry. So I'm going to have 35-10. Like, no. Like, not,
I'm with you.
No,
there.
no offense to San Jose State, but I mean, inferior team. Like, go out and make them feel like an inferior team.
Impose your will on them.
Okay, and also we have to call out your favorite Broncos that you want to see on the show next.
Oh, who we want to see, man? Wingfield, where you at? All the OGs.
Billy.
I saw Swill. Wingfield, I know you got a lot to say, man. We know you're out here in the community. Speak up for the wideouts. My boy LA, all of us, man. LA, when you're in town, it's rising. You're here. Come holler at it. Support the show. Support the alumni movement here.
Yeah, we're trying to grow this. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's gonna be a real thing here pretty soon.
It
I have
has
a
to be.
feeling.
It already is.
Yeah,
It
why not?
already is.
1% better every week. They
Absolutely.
just keep showing up.
You should have seen
Absolutely.
us setting up today.
I know,
And I think this show's been going really well. Thank you, Jovan, for coming on, sir.
Thank you for the
Appreciate having
opportunity.
you.
I'll keep supporting and anything I can do. Thank you,
you so
John. It
much,
was a
yeah.
pleasure to meet
Thank you.
This is a lot of
Likewise.
fun.
All right, you guys. Thank you
All right.
for tuning in.
Thank you. Enjoy the game. Hopefully, it's a peaceful one.
Yes.
It's over quickly.
Everybody
Yes.
drive safely and go Broncos.
And start
Broncos.
strong.
Start fast and finish.